funeral that I did. I said last Wednesday that one of my best moments in ministry is dealing with funerals. And I want to tell you about a funeral I did for a colleague of mine who was on holiday. And he rang me and said, I'm on holiday next week, could you possibly do this funeral? He's not a church member, this fella, but he went in to the local club. Well, when we say the local club in England, it means a drinking club. And this fellow was in morning, noon and night in this drinking club, and he was famous in the village where he lived because he had a handlebar moustache. Do you know what I mean by that? He had a handle, and they called him Jimmy the Tash because of his moustache. Jimmy the Tash. So I went to see his son, or his sons, who were responsible for his funeral, and we had a conversation, and I tried to sort things out. And I asked him about doing because we do it slightly different in England to you here, and the minister would normally give a eulogy for the person. But on this occasion, they said, we'd like our Uncle Mick to do the eulogy. He is a religious man, even though he goes to the club morning, noon and night. He sings the praises of God, and he goes to church even. I said, okay, that's fine. So the morning the funeral arrived, and I turned up, I drive into the car park, and outside the church is about 150 people, all smoking, and all with a can of beer in their hand. This is 11:30 in the morning. And I thought, oh. So I parked the car and I walked into church, and they were following me in with the cigarettes and the beer. So I turned around and said, no, you have to stay outside, I'm afraid. You can't come into church smoking and drinking. So I sorted myself out inside and came back outside to greet the funeral car, because in England the body comes with the car when they go into church. So I came outside to wait for the funeral director to arrive, which he duly did. And the son who I've been dealing with came to me and said, we want to carry the coffin. Me, my brother and 4 of our friends. So I said, okay, that's fine, you can do that. Now his younger brother, at 11:30 in the morning, was a little bit worse for wear. So they pulled the coffin out of the hearse, and there's 6 of them gathered round it, and 5 of them are facing the church, and the younger brother is facing this way. So I had to go and turn him round, so I turned him around. It's this way, this big building here. So he gets into church, and starts the service, and then I invite Uncle Mick, because he's a Christian, he goes to church and he drinks beer all day. I invite Uncle Mick to come and do the eulogy. So Uncle Mick walks up to the front of the church with a bag in his hand. And he puts his bag down and he starts witnessing to Jesus Christ. I thought, this is okay. This is not bad. So he talks a little bit about his brother, it was. So he talks a little bit about Jimmy the Tash. And he's witnessing to Jesus, and I thought, this is okay. He's quite a good evangelist, this fella. It's not bad. I don't know why I was worried. And then I found out. He said, just a minute. And he delved into his bag, and he put a wig on in the middle of the funeral. A big, black, curly wig. Like an afro. He said, this is what my brother used to look like. Oh, just a minute. He said, back in the bag. Tash. So he's telling everybody about his brother dressed up at a funeral. And everybody in the congregation is in absolute stitches. They're actually crying with laughter as opposed to crying with sorrow. So we get to the end of the service, and the 6 lads come up to carry the coffin back out of the church, because we're on our way to the crematorium. Because in England we have separate crematoriums. They're not actually at the funeral parlour like they are here. We have separate purpose-built crematoriums. So we're going to the crematorium. So 6 lads come out, and 5 of them are facing that way, and the other one is facing that way. So I go up and I sort him out. going in the right direction, and off we go outside. Now, the crematorium is about a 20-minute drive from the church. So I say to the undertaker, I'll see you there, I'll go and make sure things are all prepared. So off I go. I get to the crematorium, and there's nobody in front of us, which is unusual, because in England, in crematorium, there's a service every half hour. It's not like here when you think 3's busy. Every half hour, 9, 9:30, 10, 10:30, and so on. So we're due about 12:30. So I arrive about 12:20 at the crematorium. past comes and goes, no sign. 1:30 comes and goes, no sign. That's our time. 1:20, no sign. 1:10, no sign. So I say to the fellow at the crematorium, have you got anything, are we holding somebody up? He said, no, you're okay till about 2 o'clock today. We're quite quiet. So right, okay. 2:15, the funeral car arrives. The undertaker gets out. I said, where have you been? He said, they wanted to stop for a drink. So the hearse and funeral cars, and people in their own cars stop outside this pub and all go in for a drink and a smoke before they get to the crematorium. It was unbelievable. First thing they do when they jump out of the cars, they all run to the car park, get the cigs out and get the cans out, and they start again. Drinking. So he gets into the crematorium, and he wants this guy doesn't want any hymns, he wants some Elvis music to be played. I forget which song it was, but we're playing this Elvis song. Could have been Crying in the Chapel, couldn't it? Anyway, this is a true story. So this Elvis music's playing. Uncle Mick, still with the wig and the tash on, gets up and starts singing. Bloke next to him gets up. Eventually, everybody in the crematorium is stood up singing this Elvis song, whatever it was. It could have been Blue Suede Shoes, I have no idea what it was. But they're all singing it. And they're giving it all they've got, these people. So we go outside. As soon as they walk through the door, after the service is finished, as soon as they walk through the door, the cigarettes are out, beer's out again. They're off again. And then they say to me, do you want to come back for a drink? So I think of a feeble excuse and say, no, thank you, I'm going home. The following morning I get a phone call from the son of the fellow whose funeral it was, and he says, I'd just like to thank you. He said, it must have been hard with everybody drinking and smoking all the way through. He said, but just to let you know, we got home this morning at 4 o'clock.